Hello. Good morning. If you're watching this video, whenever you are. Today is Saturday, February 21st, and I'm going to the retreat. I signed up for retreat last time, but here is how I'm dressed. I think it's funny that I'm dressed like this. So, like, jacket, t-shirt, and no belt. I think this is cool, but the retreat is going to be about the Catholic Lent, and even though I'm not participating in the Lent or prayers, I am part of the Catholic um, professional group, and they do host a lot of events. But in particular, they do host events every Thursday, which I have a class, so I don't have a chance to make it. And this retreat when it came out on Saturday, which I'm free on Saturday, I was like, let me show up. There is one that's gonna be there is one that is supposed to be here on campus at the university for graduate students and undergraduate students, but it doesn't make sense for me to sign up and pay $15 when there was a free one here in DC. So I'm gonna take a metro because I cannot drive. I know where the church is. I saw it up on the map, and you need a parking, okay, and I don't have a parking. So that being said, I was thinking about taking a bag, like having my own bag like this, right? But I feel like it's not professional, and also this bag makes me look like a gangster or something. But I'm gonna carry this bag as a way of sort of like keeping my phone and my keys, everything inside, so I don't have to like have my pockets filled with everything. So other than that, I hope I look professional. This is pretty good, right? I hope this looks good. All right, thanks for watching. I'll be right back in the afternoon, actually in the evening, because the afternoon, because it ends at 12, and then I'm gonna have to come back here and have dinner and prepare for another event in the evening, which I'm gonna be meeting with my brothers, friends down in Maryland. Look at that bird. I don't know if people can see it, but that's the bird over here. Oh, there's so many birds in here. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll be right back. I will see you. Ciao, ciao. Hello. Good afternoon. It's almost 2 p.m. 2 and 51 minutes. 2 p.m. and 51 minutes, so about 9 minutes to 3 p.m. I already made a video. I was going to the events at the YCP, or Young Catholic Professional events. I enjoyed the events. Actually, it was one of the best. Was one of the best I've ever been into. I met many friends, many communities, and there was preaching, then worship, singing. And it does feel different when you are in a room full of professionals, young people, believers. I start to kind of like Catholic more than any other religious events, right? And no disrespect for other Christian groups, but from what I've seen, like every day, like right now, my calendar is very, very tight. When I do all these things like Monday to Friday, busy schedule, busy work, right? I just want to be in a place where I can be very quiet and calm, and just having my mind process things, and and I found Catholic to be that some of like one of the best place to be. I have gone to Christian churches, mostly African or the African American churches. There is a lot of singing, a lot of dancing and shouting and loud music, and not disrespect for this kind of worship, but for me I found to be very stressful. Like I cannot handle that. So today was one of those events that I truly enjoy. um, it was one of the best retreats I've ever visited. I met a couple of friends, a lot of friends. It's a community, and they meet every Thursday. They have chapters across the country. So they have chapters in Texas, here in Washington D.C., the Ohio, like New York City, like California. They have a huge network of professionals, founders, very, very smart people, and I hope to keep staying in this chapter and probably pay memberships and keep going up, keep joining. So I just want to say that it was a wonderful day today. When I woke up at 9 o'clock on weekend, it was the best weekends ever. Some people spend their weekend in a bar. And also want to say that the weather was extremely nice. Like today has been one of the best weather I've ever seen. All right. Anyways, today something that the priest talked about that I feel like was very, very important is how we have developed the identity that is tied to a professional. Right. I talk about economics all the time. Talk about politics. I talk about like life in general, and these things. Like I wake up every morning and the first thing I see is the news. If it's not the news, it's job applications. If it's not job applications, it's searching for research papers and writing and coding and doing homeworks, or looking for the next opportunity of conferences. But the priest mentioned how we have sort of like developed this career identity situation where we have immersed ourselves into this busy life and busy schedule. And I feel like I resonate with that, and it's very hard to pull myself or pull everyone out, like just pull yourself out there and find time to relax and take a moment to have time with friends. And this is like, I used to think about California being super busy, but DC is not like busy in the sense that you are doing something like very extreme, but it does get super stressful here that you need to keep up with what's going on in the world. Life here is about like this, right? Pressure, constant pressure, so that was something that was very interesting when he mentioned it. He brought something that is very important, that back in 1980s, 50s actually, is it 50s or 1800s? Yeah, around there, when the US introduced these conveyor machines that can produce so much. The economists were saying that what will people do with their leisure time? You have machines or this technology. Their job is to reduce the amount of work people do. Right? That's what we see in the news. AI is going to take over. You don't have to do too much coding. Robotics are going to take over. You don't have to do heavy work. What is self-driving cars are going to be driving themselves? You don't have to do any job, right? But is this really true? Like, it turns out that it's the opposite. The more we advance, the more we become addicted to working and working and working, right? The priest gave out an example of Jeff Bezos giving a speech to the investors, which was focused more on velocity and increasing the returns, right? Constant pressure. And when you think, I'm just gonna get a job, and like right now I'm looking for a job, right? Like I get a high-paying job, I make money, but then you start working, it becomes part of identity, and you don't have time to sit down and reflect, and maybe have time for families and time for friends, time for socializing. So I feel like that was something today that stood out in this retreat that I was able to enjoy with YCP. Just came home, and the days have been wonderful. What can I say? Like, it's been a wonderful day. And at 3 p.m., 3:30, I have another event, which is on Zoom. Somebody's going to be presenting a book, and then at 7 p.m. I have I have another event with my men's group, so it's gonna be a very, very busy day. But I can't end the day without making a video regarding what's going on in the Washington DC. And as far as I can see, Trump just increased again. Very, you can't escape this matrix of busy schedule, constant going on in the news and in the world. Yes, it's just really hard to detach yourselves. Like once you are like, I wasn't like this 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago I was not like involved in what's going on in the world, but now here I am, right? I feel like I need to be able to stay in touch, because tomorrow, actually on Tuesday, I might be asked by a professor on international trade, like, what did Trump do? It might come up in the exam. Right? What did Trump do to the economy? Past tariffs. So I got the news right now that says Trump says he will raise U.S. global tariff rate from 10% to 15%. Following court ruling. So this was after. I just want to mention this too as well. Trump just what does he say? President Trump's Iran warning gives UK was part of Chicago's Iran deal. So two things are going on right now. The Supreme Court striked Trump's tariffs. Canada, US, the whole world was celebrating. Even American, even the stock market went up. I made a video about this yesterday. The stock market shoot up, right? Because people are excited about it. But Trump is still now in like yesterday, as soon as Supreme Court finished striking down the tariffs, Trump immediately passed 10% tariffs global. This is more global. This is not like specific to specific countries. This is global. And remember, there is still more tariffs back in 2019 that are still there. China has, I believe, 15%, right? In other countries. And the Supreme Court did not strike all of them. They struck the reciprocal, so there's still more, all right? So he just passed 10% yesterday. Then he passed another 15%. He now is going to increase to 15%. Okay, so he's going to increase, he's going to add five more, okay? He does this through the balance, right? The economists under Trump administration, those who work for Trump, they are super busy working. Okay, they are constantly calculating, constantly doing derivatives and math to adjust. Okay, because these tariffs they don't apply to each country. They don't apply the same in each country. So let's say if he rolls out 10% tariffs, but let's say previously China had 2%, maybe China has 10% before, you add that 10% becomes 20%. If China rolls out, let's say 5%, and Trump increases it 15%, now China gets higher than that. So these constant readjustments of tariffs is one of the biggest challenges that the world have, and also the United States has with other countries. My camera is beeping. I'm not too sure why, but let me check if it's okay. I'll be turning it off real quick in a few minutes. I have 12 minutes to record. That means I'm going to turn it off at 15 so that I can save the space for another video for tomorrow, because I have a lot of videos in my camera and my memory card, and because I upload one per day, not all of them, just one per day, it does sort of I need to save space, right? That means I have videos to upload for the next week or so, and every day I have to record, because the last couple of months I was just uploading the previous videos. Now I'm trying to upload the one that are recent. So anyway, that being said, Trump is just Trump. He's just being Trump. He's been Trump. He's going to continue to be Trump, right? It's the second year, and we're going to be dealing with another constant pressure. So because when the president is not when the administration is not consistent in what they do, it puts investors who are very sensitive. It also puts workers, okay, because not just investors, people, we start to thinking, am I going to lose a job tomorrow? Am I going to be unemployed tomorrow, right? Those questions do come up in people's minds, and it affects how they shop, how they buy, how they react, right? It does have the effects. And with this constant changing in these tariffs, just switching, changing, and adding, and increasing, decreasing, right? It's a big problem. I wish there was another ways of sort of doing it, okay, because the other way is to use quotas, right? You can use quotas by limiting how much you bring in a country, right? However, Trump is not interested in using quotas. It's not like saying, hey, you should ship only 10 cars from China per year, okay? That's because quotas don't bring in revenue. Quotas protects only protects the domestic factories. They don't protect foreign factories. So, however, tariffs brings in revenue. This is what Trump is not different from the Democrats. He just is taxing, right? He's just like increasing, decreasing the revenue from. So if people want to buy from China, they can still buy, but they will be spending more money on those things. So it's one way to raise money for the government, for the United States. So anyway, that's all for today. It's enough for 15 minutes. Thanks for watching. Like always, ciao ciao, adios, spasiba, bye bye.